Here is a famous skyline of America, and here is the Golden Gate. In between are teeming cities and quiet villages. This is a fair land, a great land. But over this fair land lies the shadow of a man. His name?
I'm George. George, you know, the fella you let do it. I'm the guy that's running your country. Your state, city, your little hometown. You don't like that, huh? Well, why don't you like it? Aren't you the people have been saying I'm too busy, let George do it? Well, I've been doing it. Yes, sir, I've been doing it. You know why I've been doing it? Because as long as you Americans do nothing but complain, nothing more, understand, I can get away with it. Sure, you can run around talking about self-government. Self-government. You realize 40 million of you didn't vote last election? 40 million of you. You call it self-government? Well, why should I get you wise? You know, I'm the guy that made Hitler, Mussolini, fellas like that very successful. I paved the way for them. You betcha I did. And I can continue to pave the way as long as you do nothing about it. Who was that fella? Burke, Edmund Burke. He says the only way evil can triumph is for the good people to do nothing about it. And it's working out pretty good. Of course, there's one little movement that's starting to put a crimp in my style, and I don't like it. It's that Christopher movement. They're getting you people wise to voting and stuff like that. But I got a hunch you're not going to pay any attention. And I will continue to run your government. Continue to tell you what to do. You'll sit home and beef about it, but that's all. I'm George. I'm the guy you let do it.
Perfect. You read it wonderfully.
Hey, I'm going to ask you something. How come you got me doing a creepy character like that?
Why not? Isn't it true? You know, it's all over the country. People are letting others do it.
Yeah.
While the good people are taking care of themselves, all over the world, it's the same story. The evil people are taking care of everybody else. Now, Danny, the reason I got you here is we're going to do a movie on that book, Government is Your Business.
Well, you're a producer now.
No, not a producer, but the movies are a good way to reach a lot of people. And you want to know enough about the movies.
Yeah,
You can help me. Well, we're trying to get people to get out and vote.
Oh, you're telling people how to vote now?
No, not how to vote, to vote. They have an obligation before God and man to fulfill their obligations, their responsibilities as citizens. We don't tell them what to do, what party to join, or anything else. All we want them to do is be on their own. We establish our position right in the first pages of the book. We leave it to you to stand on your own 2 feet, to make your own decisions, to join or support any political party you like, to vote as you see fit, to take whatever stand you consider best, and to decide for yourself which organizations you will join to add your voice to that of others. It is between you and God. Isn't that fair enough?
That's very, very fair. As a matter of fact, it's very fair, very honest, and very vital. I appreciate very much, Father, that we should vote, regardless who we vote for.
We say right here on the top of the book, as the subhead of Government is Your Business, either you run your government or government runs you. America began on a great principle. Not long ago, I was coming back from Europe. I'd been given a few talks on the Christopers over there, and I was very much impressed by what a little woman, I don't know where she came from, but she'd been kicked around in Europe, and she was coming over here to make her home. She'd gained admittance to the country, and she was so enthused about getting to the United States. She got up early, before dawn, to see the coastline. You know what it is coming into New York.
I sure do.
Well, everybody that came up to her, she bubbled over with enthusiasm, and the people sort of liked it to have somebody from outside our country get enthusiastic, all except one man, one young chap. He was a senior from some college. I don't think he meant any harm, but he started telling her the bad side of America, the fault.
Well, where do you learn that? In school?
I don't know where he learned it, but he was on the downside of our country, not on the up. Well, she listened, and very pleasantly, very patiently, after he got all finished, she made a very good statement. She said, I don't care what you say about America. If it's twice as bad as what you say, it's still twice as good as any other country I've ever heard of.
Well, I tell you, I've been away from our country 3-4 times. And believe me, those are my sentiments to the T. Every time I come home, I say, regardless of how it's going, thank God for it. It's still the greatest.
Well, it began on such terrific principles. I'm afraid many of the people today don't know how it began. Now, Danny, I feel that most of the people are well-disposed. Sure. Many of them don't know. Many of them don't know the origins of American government. I would like to point out to you, as well as our audience, certain things in the Declaration of Independence that I think are very significant. We've made all sorts of tests, and we find that the vast majority of Americans have never once read the Declaration of Independence.
No, how true.
We inquired in Washington, in the Federal Bureau of Education, and we find that only 9 states and 48 states require the teaching of the Declaration of Independence in the schools.
Yes, I don't believe I was ever taught the Declaration of Independence.
Well, we take it for granted. We're like the man, he said he was out fighting for the Bill of Rights. Somebody said, well, what are the Bill of Rights? And he said, well, I don't know, but I'd die for them. You know, the old story. Danny, I have a copy of the Declaration of Independence over there. Do you mind looking at it with me?
Not at all.
Very good. Here it is. Right, very clearly, Declaration of Independence. Congress, July 4th, 1776. Unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. Dan, I wish you would read for the audience the 4 spots in here where the Founding Fathers emphasized our dependence upon God. It's very significant. There are 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end. Would you read them?
There's the laws of nature and of nature. They took no chances, huh?
No, nature was good, but they wanted something above it. God himself. Nature's God.
Yes, and we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator.
It's so significant. They said that all men are endowed by their Creator. Not only Americans. We haven't got any copyright on it. No monopoly. All men.
Now, and appealing to the supreme judge of the world for the rectitude of our intention.
Yeah. Pretty good, isn't it? They recognize an authority beyond. They feel an accountability to some higher power, to God Almighty.
With a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence.
Lincoln put it so forcefully. This nation under God. A few people, not many, but a few who are on the job day and night, they want to make it this nation without God. Let's keep it this nation under God.
Yes, and Lincoln also said, Father, I believe it was in a speech or a letter, I don't remember which, but he said to the effect that unless we all recognize that human beings are made to the divine image, living has no meaning, no hope.
Yeah, he said so many emphatic things, significant things.
He was a beautiful man.
He certainly was. He was a real American.
Yeah, true.
Now, Danny, I'm going to show you over at the desk, if you don't mind, some of the changes. Most people have never seen them. As a matter of fact, I didn't see them until a couple of years ago, how Jefferson wrote in his own hand insertions in reference to God. There was only, in the first draft of the Declaration of Independence, there was only one reference to God, and that was in the first sentence. Danny, would you come over to the desk and I'll show it to you?
All right.
All right, pardon me. Right here in my drawer. Now these, there's some 2 pages, but you notice right here in the second sentence, in Jefferson's handwriting, it said originally, from that equal creation they derive inherent rights. Now, Jefferson crossed that out. You can recognize the same writing, and right above it, he wrote in himself, they are endowed by their Creator.
In other words, he made it emphatic.
He couldn't have been more clear. He didn't want to take any chances. Now, there were two other references that were put in after. Jefferson put in one down here in appealing to the supreme judge of the world. That's a write-in, too. You notice?
Yes.
It wasn't an afterthought, but they wanted to be more sure. They wanted to emphasize that point. And then they turned it over to Congress with those three references. Very few people realize that Congress made that addition, relying upon divine providence. They put it right in the end of the Declaration. That's the way the country was established, and that's the way we ought to keep it. If you got enough people who know this and fight for it, I'm pretty sure that the country will go along in unending peace.
It's very enlightening, Father.
There it is, Danny. That's the doctrine on which we're going to base our picture. Government is your business. I want some suggestions from you. I'm going to let you read the scripts, and you can give a lot of good ideas. You can be very helpful. But it's good old 1776 basic American doctrine.
I'm really glad I came. Of course, I sum it all up this way, that we owe our allegiance to two factors, to Almighty God and to our country. That's all.
No, I'd add one, a third factor.
Oh, yes. Mrs. Thomas.
Hello, Miss
Father.
Thomas. Nice to have you here.
Thank
Sorry
you.
you
Nice
didn't
being
hear
here.
him read the Declaration of Independence.
I did a bad job.
Remember, dear, the parent-teachers meeting.
Let George do it.
Let George do it.
So sorry.
Let Danny do
Yes,
it.
I go. Well, take care.
I will, Danny.
See ya.
Thanks very much for coming.
Robert Young is coming over, huh?
He's coming in a little while, and he's going to carry on from where you left off.
Would you do me a favor?
Yes.
This character, George, I wish you'd let Bob do that because, I don't know, it's kind of a mean character, and I can't do it.
Don't worry, Father. He can do it.
See ya, huh?
Very good.
Come on.
Thank you, Miss Thomas.
Bye.
Thanks, Danny. Well, friends, it was very nice of Danny Thomas and Mrs. Thomas to come in and participate in our program. We now have another treat in store for you. Mr. Robert Young will be with us just about due right now. Oh, here he is. Hello, Bob. Come right in.
Hello, Father.
Wonderful of you to come.
Thank you very much.
Please sit
Very
down.
nice to be here. Thank you. I ran into Danny out in the hall. Danny Thomas?
Oh, yes,
Why?
he was here
Oh.
helping us out on our new picture.
Good. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I have some ideas on it.
Very good. Well, that's just what I wanted you to bring. We want to do this picture based on our book, Government is Your Business. And we put it in this form. We put it in the pamphlet. We summed it up here in our news notes. We have 12 steps to better government. And now we want to put it in a picture.
Well, I knew about that. You talked to me about it the other day, don't you remember?
I remember
But
that all right.
the other night you spoke at the hotel and I missed it. I was very sorry. I was tied up in a radio rehearsal. And I wasn't able to attend. And since you asked me to help, I just happened to bring along a little plot here I worked on for the movie.
Oh, very good.
I hope you like it. I don't know. Of course, I'm a little out of my province here, you know, attempting to be a writer.
No,
But,
give us what you did. I liked it very much.
I want you to tell me what you talked about the other night, though. I want to see if those points are covered in this.
Oh, very good. We put them here, but for the sake of brevity, and so an audience could see them, I've had them put on cards. Let me give you the cards here. Number one, you have these 12 points. Inquire about the management of public affairs from authoritative sources.
You mean by authoritative sources, men in office, people who are in
Well,
office now?
magazines, books, articles,
I
different
see what
people,
you mean, yeah.
and then
Mhm.
each one uses his own judgment.
I see.
But you can't make a judgment if you don't have a basis for it.
That's true.
Now, number two, pray for those in public office.
Oh, yes.
That's a very laudable thing. A woman in a home, a student, anybody could pray. Pick out somebody in public office. If they're good, they can stand your prayers. If they're not so good,
They need it worse. I know.
That's right.
Or more, rather, I should say. We do that every Sunday in church.
good. We'll do it every day. Number three, encourage those with character and competence to dedicate themselves to careers in public service.
Well, that's important, certainly. And I think too few of us encourage those who are in office that we know to be competent.
That's right. Do something about it. We use that word, that expression constantly. Do something about it. Just don't sit on the sidelines complaining or criticizing. Get in. Make your own force for good help. And you certainly can do that in political activity. Number four, study the candidates.
Well, how important that is.
You could talk for 10 minutes.
Do
on
it,
that.
too, yes.
You could do a picture on that one.
Probably should.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that instead of this one.
No, we're going to stick to that. Now, a 10-precinct convention. It'd be a very interesting thing to ask the average citizen what a precinct
I hope you don't
is.
ask me.
Well, there are 130,000 precincts in America, in the United States. That's the voting unit. I want to hurry along now. Number 6, participate in political meetings. Politics will never be any better than the people in it. Politics are essentially good. 7, check on the voting record of your present representatives. It's a very interesting thing to go back to whether in the town, the state, in Congress, any place, to see what their record is. Then you know what they are. Now, 8, stimulate others to vote. In the country...
Well, that's one I covered in here.
Good for you. I was looking up recently and discovered that in 1940, there were 83 million Americans who were eligible to vote. In 1950, there were 97 million. Now, you know that practically half that number, less than half that number, actually go to the polls at times.
Well,
Now,
I know that figure's used. 50% is considered, is supposed to be a good turnout, isn't it?
Hitler got into power on a legitimate vote. It just happened that very few good people voted. The vast majority stayed away from the polls, and a small minority who were interested in Hitler brought him into...
Well, a lot of people, too, unfortunately, don't vote because, for some reason or other, they don't like either candidate.
Well, we got that here. We got that in another point. You know all the answers.
No, I don't.
But it's a very interesting, and I'd like to dwell on that when we get to that point, Bob. Here, 9, offer your service for essential pre-election work.
Well, that's good.
It means a lot of hard work, helping them to get to the polls, but always let them vote as they like. I heard of one instance where they carried to the polls if you voted the way they wanted. Well, that isn't good. I mean, it isn't good democracy. Let them vote. Help them to exercise their wonderful privilege of voting. 10, consider legitimate political activity as a moral obligation to God and country.
Well, that's very important. As I mentioned a little while ago, that because of the unfortunate background of some of the politicians that we have had in office and have in office at the present, a lot of people feel that any political activity somehow has an onus attached to it, that we're out for gain.
That's right, Somebody said that a lot of those people go into government not to do good, but to do well. But we shouldn't be worried about the bad people, and it should be emphasized over and over again that the great number of people in government are doing a good, honest job. And one of the best ways to get those good, honest people out is brand new. 11, express your preference under any circumstances.
What do you mean by that?
Well...
Oh, I know what you mean, sure.
You know, a lot of people say, oh, none of them are any good. Well, that may...
You mean vote either way?
Well, I might...
But vote.
But vote, Bob. Well, they have to use their own judgment. We constantly say, use your own judgment. Stand in your own 2 feet. We don't tell anybody how to vote or what political party to belong to or anything. But we say, and we recommend this, that if in your judgment you find 2 candidates who are not right off the Christmas tree, not the perfect gems, you know, often may be the better part of citizenship to vote for the one that's better. Well, one, no matter how bad he is a little better than the other. And if you don't vote, you may help the worse one.
Well, that's happened sometimes, hasn't
Oh, frequently. Now, here's the last, and I think it's the most important of all. 12, vote for those, regardless of party, who stand for the preservation of our divine heritage of free constitutional government.
I like that. I would say, well, perhaps I should say Shakespeare said it before me. This above all. Vote for those, regardless of party, who stand for the preservation of our divine heritage. How correct that is. A free constitutional government. Well, if they'd say that, they'd get a lot of votes, wouldn't they?
Well, thank God that there are quite a few who do believe in that, who do stand for it. We, the Christophers, want to increase that number. We want to encourage people to participate in every way possible, on their own, entirely on their own. I hope you don't mind me emphasizing this.
No, it follows very much the core of what you emphasize in your career guidance schools.
That's right. And in the book, Government is Your Business, well, Bob, we've summed this all up in the, as I mentioned before, I'm going to give you a copy of this to take along, sum it up in our news notes, 12 Steps to Better Government. I'll give you that.
Oh, I see, yeah.
You can take that along with you. But I want to
Fine.
hear what you did.
Now, Father, I want you to understand that this is just sketchy, you know, it's notes and things. I
Very
just wrote
good.
it very quickly, and I don't know whether you like it or not even.
Anything you can give us, I'll appreciate
All right. Well, now, look, suppose we open up in a university. We have a young university student, and he's read your book.
Yeah,
And this gives him an idea. He starts to dream about it. He thinks he wants to become a politician. So he tells his friends about that. And they discuss it among themselves. They think that he's loony. You know, they want to be doctors, lawyers, dentists, and so forth. In fact, one might even be a psychiatrist. They decide he's going to be a psychiatrist and thinks that Johnny might make a good case. He decides that anyone who wants to go into politics must be out of his mind, right for the boys in the white coat. So Johnny then, let's see now, Johnny goes home, and that night he's having dinner with his parents. He's invited his girl Mary to the house, and he's going to tell his parents about his impending engagement.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a little scene there with Mary and Johnny, and they're holding hands under the table and so forth. Now, he tells his parents that he has a very important announcement to make. And he suddenly realizes that he has two. He has the announcement of his career and the announcement of his engagement. But when he says he has important news, Mary naturally thinks that it means the engagement, and so do his parents. They glance at each other, and Mary squeezes his hand under the table. Yeah. And then Johnny feels that perhaps it's less risky to tell of his career, that news first. So he tells them that he's going to be a politician. And instead of the joy and the excitement that he expects from his parents and also from Mary, it's chaotic. His mother says, I have enslaved all my life to raise my boy to be a politician, and the father says, I certainly haven't raised my boy to be a 5%er. Well, if you don't like that, you don't have to leave it in. But anyway, Mary withdraws her hand. She breaks off her engagement. The mother and father are tremendously upset. Now, to tell you the truth, that's as far as I got.
It's marvelous. It's just the thing we want because it's so true to life. Practically every young person comes to us says, well, I'd like to, but my mother and father says no. They don't want them to stick their neck out. They don't want to get them involved. And the result is they're holding back the best people in the
Well, of course, I realized that I left you hanging up in the air, too, as well as the boy. But I had some other thoughts here. I just jotted them down. You can see these are just sketchy notes. Now, I don't know whether that's practical, whether you can use it or not.
Excellent. Just
You
what
do
we
like
need.
it?
I like it very much.
Well, then I have a confession to make, Father.
What's the confession?
Well, I told you that I wrote this.
Yes.
But since you like it, I promised my collaborator that if you did like it, I'd tell you who it was. It's Leo McCary. But the thing that I did want to put over to you, if I did, was that we all want to help on this picture that you're going to make.
Thanks.
We all believe sincerely in what you stand for, that uppermost in our minds is the realization that our duty is to our God and our country.
Hello? Oh, yes, Miss Young. Just a moment. Here's Bob.
How did she know where it was? Hello? Yes, dear. Yes, honey. Well, it'll be a little while. You know where I am. Just a moment. I forgot the three things. God, country, and home.
Okay.
Yes, dear. Sure, I can do it. I can do it. Yeah, all right. Goodbye. You know, Father, in an actor's life, he plays many parts. But tonight, I'm a babysitter.
Well, God bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in, Bob.
Not at all, Bob.
Appreciate it to take this much time to help us with our picture and help make government better. God bless you.
Well, that's what we all want to do.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. We're very grateful, likewise, to Robert Young for participating in this program and helping to emphasize the 12 steps to better government. Friends, in this book, government is your business. We have tried to stress as best we can that it is yours, that you have a personal responsibility to protect and strengthen your own government. Now, I can't think of any better way to bring this little session to a close than to have the singing of God Bless America and to sing this wonderful song I have asked Dennis Day to come here and bring it to you in person. And here is Dennis Day. Hello, Dennis.
How are you, Father?
Wonderful of you to come.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, we're all looking forward to your singing God Bless America.
God bless America, and that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, from the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Danny Thomas, Robert Young, and Dennis Day for helping to remind people to take an interest in public affairs. Remember, friends, government is your business. Above all, regardless of your choice, be sure to exercise your God-given right to vote. God bless you, one and all.
This is a presentation of the Christophers,